Hello,
Hi people!
welcome to Counting Thoughtz podcast and welcome back to Counting Thoughtz podcast. We're listening to our podcast for the very first time. She's Yasha
Hi people!
and I'm Anmol. So for the people who are coming here for the very first time, let me introduce Counting Thoughtz podcast to you. This podcast is the place of all our thoughts and everything that we want to discuss is something that we are going to discuss. All this to bring change, one thought at a time.
Amen. I mean, most of you have clicked on this and you've already read what we are going to discuss, and it might not make some sense to you, but I were hoping by the end of the discussion it does make some sense to you, because apparently in India this is a discussion I've come to realize because quite a few people around me were naming their children and and that sort of triggered the thought process behind this episode.
Okay, Sasha suggested that let's do this episode because I think in a lot of different cultures there are a lot of different references as to what role does a name play
Yes.
in a person's life or in their personality and all of those.
In general also, your name has a lot of meaning to your identity because you identify as Anmol and I identify as Yasha.
From since we were born, even when before we begin speaking, we are aware as to there's this specific name.
Pets are
that
aware.
when
Even the pets are aware. Like I say, like a nameless, like there's a stray cat who sort of has grown a liking towards me. So whenever I visit home, she comes. I call her Kitai for some reason, and she started responding to Kitai, and Kitai apparently understands. That sort of is the way that a name can carry. Plus, I mean, I don't want to sound as a romantic, but then they say that I think Dale Carnegie used to say that your name is the sweetest sound to you.
Because that is something that you recognize instantaneously.
एक sense of identity हो जाता है ना, मतलब कि my name is so and so.
Yeah.
And it, not just name, ऐसे family name के साथ भी बहुत. My family name is so and so. I don't know about the rest of the world, but then family name जो है that has a lot of importance, at least in India.
So there are a lot of Anmols in my
boy Anmols
in my classroom, especially during my college time. I think there were 3 or 4 Anmols in our tuition itself.
Apart from me. So whenever anyone used to say Anmol, then started denoting as female Anmol, and then rest 3 male Anmols. And then I used to be like, what the hell is this? Like, denote as Anmol Kanwar. Anmol. I think it is this way for everybody. See, suppose you're in a crowded space, like I see Anmol at a distance and I shout out her name. She will turn back. You are wired to recognize that sound and respond to that sound. There is a joke. So I come from a hill station. Apparently there are a lot of ghost stories that go around in hill stations.
Yeah.
So, alright. The town that I live in, it was established by the Britishers during the British rule in India. So there are a lot of burial grounds, like in the city itself. Abhi we don't have as many Christians, but then we have burial grounds. So during the monsoon, it tends to get foggy. During the day, even if it's like 12 noon, the light is very dim and it is very dingy. Even if you're outside in the sun, वो पता ही नहीं चलता because it is rainy and clouds also sometimes tend to come down. That is the perfect time you can have those, horror story time wala hisab kitab. So this the common story was that if it's eerie and you feel uncomfortable and you feel scared and somehow you hear somebody call your name, you don't immediately turn back. And then your seniors would play pranks also. So they would hide in staircases and they would if there is a junior going and walking alone and they would call your name, yes, and they would hide behind trees.
And you was even 9 at that point of time. We used to believe it.
You would creep out कि अब मुझे पलटना है कि नहीं, because you would recognize, your brain would recognize वो तुम्हारे senior है, तुम daily travel कर रहे हो, right, उनके साथ, तुम उनकी आवाज पहचान में आ रही है, you are recognizing that voice, and तुम्हें लग रहा है oh my god, maybe it's the ghost. Maybe the ghost is talking to me in Didi's voice. What am I supposed to do? And you build all sorts of theories in your head कि मुझे ये मेरा नाम सुनाई दे रहा है, अब मुझे पलटना है कि नहीं पलटना है. And then it's fun and it's funny now. It wasn't funny then. Like, it wasn't funny to a 10-year-old. Like, trust me when I say it wasn't. But then like, these are the stories that go around names. If I think of more. Abhi, my question was, if I hear somebody call my name, how am I supposed to know?
Like, it's a basic instinct. You tell, if you hear it, you turn back.
And it's an immediate thing, right?
Yeah.
Somebody takes your name, somebody calls you by name, and हाँ करके. Sometimes ऐसा भी होता है. So my name is Yasha, and Yash is a common Hindu boy name in India. So like families tend to shorten your name and squeeze nicknames out of your actual name.
Yeah.
So for instance, my name is Yasha, so they would call me Yashu, Yashi, Yash also. So my brain has acclimated to respond to Yashu, Yashi, Yash also. So abhi we're partying and somebody says Yash and I would respond to Yash also. So that's how your brain sort of tends to respond to names.
There are so many
sidetrack stories.
But yeah,
that I'll tell you.
But then again, I think in India, we are, of course, your surnames or the cultures that you're associated from or the religion that you're from, your name plays a lot of role. Like I'm from a Hindu Indian family. My religion is Hindu. So when नामकरण होता है, when the name is being kept of the child, so we tend to consult, if that's the correct word, the priest for a name that in accordance to the astrology of the child when they were born.
So apparently there's a chart drawn based on the time that you were born on.
Time, place,
I believe, and time and place. And your, I think, gender.
Yeah, I'm not sure about gender, but time, place, for sure.
So online when you see horoscope, तो उसमें बोलते हैं ना कि नाम और gender.
Because then the names are suggested accordingly.
हाँ. So the priest, as Anmol was saying, the
priest would suggest one or two alphabets, or sometimes one alphabet. That इस alphabet से नाम रख लो, इससे नाम रख लो, and you're good to go. And we play like. In our families, there's this importance that this is the alphabet. Now we need to form a name out of this alphabet, starting from this alphabet, which we feel, of course, the parents or the family feels, resonates with the child, like resonates somehow or connects you to the child, or like it feels like that. Yes, this is his or her name.
So it feels correct.
It feels correct
for that individual.
Yeah.
With my family, I think it's more about the meaning of the name. So whatever name. So the procedure is same.
Who named you? Family.
This is also
somehow plays roles. This we recommend Bua Masi.
Either your mother's sister or your father's sister. It's
auspicious.
So I was named by my mother, but then a lot of research apparently has gone into my name. ये मुझे off late.
I was named by my father.
So with my name, so this is Hindi alphabet. So Bha or Ya was the alphabets that were given. My dad came up with Bhanu, which means the sun. My ruling planet. My ruling planet is also supposed to be the sun. He said कि ये दोनों तरफ से sun हो जाएगा, ये रख लेते हैं. Apparently my दादी came to picture and she's like नहीं ये तो भालू बोलेंगे बच्चे इसे and kids will make fun. So भालू is a bear.
Yeah.
And so my dadi sort of rejected the name. So Jesus Christ in Hindi, when you say Jesus Christ, you say Yesu Masih. Call somebody, Aja. Right?
Yeah.
So Yash would be that. They sort of thought that it could be be derivative from Jesus Christ's name.
Yeah.
Or it could be Yash ki Prapti is Yasha. Fast forward to when I'm 25, my brother is making fun out of me because apparently there is a cartoon character, anime character, Inu Yasha karke. Inu is supposed to be dog in Japanese.
Okay.
And Yasha is supposed to be some deity. He has found a way to make fun of my name. He's like, yeah, doggy. Because that's what siblings do. Like, fast forward to when I started learning language. Apparently, Yasha is a very global name.
No, it is. Yes, it is.
In the sense that, so the phonetics of alphabets with every language changes. So when I started learning Korean, I was Korean and Japanese do not have R as a alphabet. So it's somewhere, the sound that they have for R is somewhere between R and L. So my brother's name is Rajat, and there is no correct way to say his name in Japanese.
Ruchi will also not have
Ruchi will also. So I was telling Ruchi, I think yesterday, day for Ruchi. If I write your,
call her Ruchi for a very long time.
If I write your name in Korean, it would probably be Ruchi. She was unfazed probably because
she was unfazed because I think for good 10 years, one of my cousin, Akisha, my bua's daughter, she used to call Luchi Didi. Then we used to keep on correcting her.
Like Luchi has a meaning in
Hindi,
which is not a good word. So, but then I think Ruchi has.
She's habitual of hearing.
So maybe that's why she was unfazed. But then my brother wasn't. नाम ही नहीं लिख सकते हैं, क्या बात है. And apparently my name has a Hebrew meaning as well. My name has Japanese meaning as well. My name has Hindu meaning as well. My name apparently has Christian meaning as well. In that very class, I was told that in almost all languages, I can actually correctly write my name.
Your name. But it also reflects on your personality, Yasha. In general, the name, because your name is culturally appropriate, I think, all around the globe, your overall personality is also somehow like that. Like, you remember, professionally, I think last year, one of your students, I think, said that you look or you don't feel very
Indian.
Indian.
I do not know how to react to that because I said I am
Indian. Not an affair. Like, they did not be judged by looks. They were like the way you talk, the overall personality, the thought process of yours is. So in that entirety, but I think they meant it as a compliment. That is the kind of, I don't know if this is a name thing or the kind of personality you have, but it sort of reflects a tiny bit.
Alright, okay. But then, like, this is not where I was going with this. I have come in that particular class. I have had people from South India as well. So South Indian people have very elaborate names. This South Indian student in my class, they came with, I think they had like an elaborate name because apparently there is a culture of taking your name is supposed to have your father's name, your grandfather's name as well as your family name, and like your name is also elaborate. So काफी बड़ा नाम हो जाता है. So he came up with a new name, Matty करके. So Matty is in my class. He is a South Indian, but everybody in the class calls him Matty just because it is easy to say. And I realized that although it was a very minuscule thing and I did not pay attention to it, initially I did not pay attention to it, and gradually I realized that there are a lot of K-pop artists who have English names as well, just because the pronunciation gets messed up. Say suppose somebody is called Sabhyata. I can say Sabhyata, it's a Sanskrit word.
Yeah.
I can say Sabhyata because I've been taught Hindi and Sanskrit for that matter. But then somebody internationally might not be able to say Sabhyata properly.
And whenever I'm speaking to them and it's not a common name, I always
first thing I do is like,
Please tell me how to
But
pronounce
I
your
think
name because
that is the kind of profession we are in, which is why we do that. And I do that especially because मेरे नाम के साथ ऐसा that people are not taking my name properly. And it's not their fault, it's rather uncommon for people to have Yasha as their name. Google Docs corrects my name. Like
I did not know that.
So when I write Yasha, autocorrect अगर on है Google Docs Microsoft Word का, so it will correct my name to Tasha, Tasha, because Tasha apparently is a common Russian name. So if you're an Indian, I will spell it in Hindi की Yasha
But बड़ा मजा आता है. Like I enjoy it a lot.
I
when there is different pronunciation to my name, मेरे को बड़ा मजा आता है.
मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. मुझे फर्क पड़ता है when you talk to customer of any because Yasha. हाँ?
I think it's courteous of them.
SHA. Okay. Yasha? भैया तुम लिख लो ना बस Yasha और चलता करो वाला. And my dad used to make fun of me कि अभी तो शुक्र करो तुम्हारा सरनेम थोड़ा ऐसा है कि uncomplicated है. तुम्हारा
सरनेम people used to be like
what's it?
Come again? One of her European and she calls me annual. Like she's not pronouncing it wrong. In her accent, it's correct.
It's correct. What I was saying was that they come from a certain ethnicity, and it is not easy for people outside of that ethnicity to say their name correctly. They tend to opt for easier name just so कि वहाँ के लोग they can take their name properly.
I find African names extremely unique. There are two people I specifically remember. One is Neolina and the other is Bilquis. And then I observed that African names are quite unique.
If you have a name that comes from a certain culture, it's going to be unique to anybody outside of that
culture.
Outside of that culture. So, like Yasha will be unique to anybody from outside of India. ये मुझे पता है. But when people from India also say कि this is ये तो बहुत अलग नाम है.
It is different because we have a very no offense, but it's actually true. Rahul and Aman is a very very common name in India. No offense to any Rahuls and Amans.
Yes. But मेरे भाई को like in everybody's defense, my brother's name is Rajat and I love him to bits and pieces. But ऐसे पत्थर फेंको तो 5 रजत निकल के आते हैं. And like it's
a common name. What happens if you're in a crowded place and it's a comparatively common name? There are going to be a lot of heads that will turn.
But it's cool. No matter how common or uncommon your name is, your name is going to give you a sense of individuality.
It will, yeah.
And I have understood this, like working the kind of job that I am working, and I don't get to meet all the people that I'm working
with
in real time. I get to meet them all, say Google Meet or Skype.
Virtual platforms.
I have come to realize that when you take their name or when you hear them take your name, there is a certain confidence that comes inside you, and there is a certain reliability that you form with that other individual. And it is not just, I'm not just speaking out of my sheer, online work experience working from home. I'm speaking out of in general also. So you go to a place and you ask go to a restaurant and you ask your server ki aapka naam. So they tend to there is a switch in there's a good switch in their body language, and that is because
you feel seen, you feel heard,
because there is this certain sense of attachment to your name. A lot of cultures pay a lot of importance in how the newborns, how the babies are named, how individuals are named,
because we feel that it might reflect in their lives, the purpose of their lives.
For instance, in South Korea, some parents, like this is research, okay, I'm not making this up, parents bring in experts और वो नाम ऐसा होता है so that that individual or that child can has a name that brings good fortune to that child. not just in India. While I was doing this research, a lot of cultures have names that origin from the gods or the deities they believe in. So we've by now concluded that the names that we have or anything else, they have the most important, they're like a very important possession in our life.
I've also found, sorry to cut you, there are a few friends of mine, when they grew up, they were like, I'm not able to relate to my name, so before I pass my 10th class, I'm going to change my name. So and now, of course, initially I used to be like, dude,
a lot of people who believe in numerology tend to change their name. कि आपका driver number क्या है, क्या scene है, they change their name.
I know numerology, I don't know what driver number or whatever.
I don't know much, so I was born on the 5th. Maybe 5 is going to be an important number. I randomly came across a numerologist, and I was told that because I was born on the 5th, my personality will always be balanced, just because I'm in the center. I'm not on the extreme ends. I think there would be more to numerology. Maybe we could do a separate
segment for that.
Yeah. Numerology. But then what I was trying to say is that your name could mean anything to you. Yeah. It could be of importance for XYZ reason to you. Maybe it is important to you because someone you love very dearly has meaning that you have. It's off topic. It is not really off topic, but then say suppose I get famous, तो उसे बोलेंगे उसके तो नाम में ही fame था, वो तो fame हो गई तो क्या हो गया? So this has become I have actually while I was doing this research, I have seen people who have become famous in life, and उनके नाम के example लेके they ये उनका नाम था. This is why
I think it's hard work. Mostly it's hard work.
It is.
And very tiny bit of कि नाम में ही वो था. It's a saying. I don't know I don't believe it's very true.
However you want to assume, whatever reasons you want to assume as to why your name is important, but baseline is that your name is important. Whatever XYZ.
Of course, I think every name is important. Even.
Coming back to the question why this episode started, as to do you believe that your name contributes to the formation of your personality?
100. In my personal case, 100%.
To me, to a certain extent, yes, your name does contribute to your personality. I would say yes, to a certain extent, it does. Baki, let us know in comments, where do you stand?
It does, yeah. Let us know, and I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening to us.
Yes, people.
Comment.
Yes.
Lots of love. Bye.